Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Sit Down and Shut Up with Juzzy. Today we're going to be playing with Satorha. Satorha is a really high-level Ed, but I think they're going to be playing Ryu today. They're 1500 MR, 1500 MR Ryu. I guess they're having some issues playing Ryu, mostly around playing the Shoto game versus playing the not Shoto game, right, with Ed. And I guess they've been messing with that character. So let's get them on the chat here and get started. Alright, hopefully I'm not getting too much encoding lag, but we'll see. Hey, Story, are you there?
What's up? Bro? How you
Hey.
doing?
Hey, thanks for doing this last minute, man. We were trying to get a hold of someone else and it didn't quite work out, so glad you're able to step in.
Oh yeah, I have a pretty empty Saturday usually, so that good luck that I checked the channel when I did, I guess.
Worked out, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool, man. So I was just telling chat, basically, you're normally a 1700 MR Ed, but I think for this you're gonna be playing Ryu today, right? Is that still
Yeah.
the plan? Cool.
Yes.
So I was saying it seemed like the issues you're having mostly around like how to use reuse normals versus because you're used to kind of using ads, right? Or does that sound about right?
Yeah, yeah. It was I've come to this thought as of recent that I feel like I'm pretty carried by Ed's mid-range game.
Uh huh.
And whenever I play other characters, with the exception of Akuma, because he's so fast, his normals might as well be that long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel very awkward playing at normal character ranges.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, and then like I try to circumvent this by playing a projectile game, which I'm trying to base off XL because his projectile game is demonic.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't seem to have a good sense of much things. Like I don't really care about dropping combos or not doing good routes because that all comes with time.
Mm-hmm.
It's my intention when I engage in like normal character mid range that I feel kind of miserable right now, I think.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Shoto space control, right, is like a whole thing, right? I mean, you get guys like Valle that have been refining that for decades at this point, right? So being
Hmm.
able to control space with a fireball and a DP, is kind of quintessential Street Fighter 2, but SF6 is different, right? So what we're gonna do, I think, is I'll invite you to a custom. We'll play a first to three.
Okay.
We'll go over some stuff, I guess. Or I'll take notes while we're playing, right? So I may not like rematch right away as I write stuff
Sure.
down or whatever. And then after that, we'll do a replay review. So I'll share my screen in Discord. We can pick one or
Yep.
two games that I think were good for what we wanted to look at. Maybe
Hmm.
highlighting some of the things or concerns that you had about the game, and then maybe hop in the training room, do a little lab work if there is something that you want to see
Sure.
or check out. And then afterwards, if there's still time, we can do another first to three afterwards and see if any of those changes take. So sound reasonable to you?
Yeah, sounds great to me.
Perfect.
It's, I think right now, one of my concerns might be is my volume any louder than you? I don't want to drown you out.
Oh, you're good, man.
All
You're
right, we're
good.
good. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Should be.
Okay, all
Cool.
right.
So what I'll do is I'll send you the invite, create the room, and send you the
Mm-hmm.
invite, and then I'm gonna deafen in Discord while this is going,
Yeah.
while we're playing, so you won't be able to hear
Yeah.
me. So I won't influence anything you're doing, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Anything like that. Because I tend to talk a lot during these. I don't know if you watch any episodes, but I tend to talk a lot during
Oh yeah.
these things, right? So
Yep. Yep. I noticed that usually on the second game it's open mic, but in the first game
yeah,
it's
yeah,
usually
yeah.
kind of
The
quiet.
second set will be open, so we
Yep.
can give each other crap that on that one. But
That makes sense. All right, I'll probably follow suit. I
all
mean,
right,
there's no need, but I'll follow suit with the deafening thing anyway.
for
So
sure.
yeah, hopefully these games illuminate something.
All right, cool.
For
All right, good luck. Talk to you in a bit.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, it's Satorha. They're a really good player. So this might be just as enlightening for me as it is for him. We'll see. I mean, Ryu can be kind of awkward, I think. Like, especially coming, like you said, coming from someone like Ed, who has a lot of, can play at a longer space, it's a little more comfortable, so. Nice. So I think for whatchamacallit, for getting Denjin, I think target combo actually does more damage than Donkey Kick. Oh, it didn't reach. Oh, went for it there. So, so far, I think they're doing fine. Their spacing is a little awkward for Ryu. It's a little bit further than they probably should be, but they mentioned that was a problem, right? So. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh, I let that go. Okay, so that was just one bad Denjin charge, I think, but most of it has to do with, like, mid-range space, right? So I think, like, they know what to do, right? They know how to play the game, obviously. But I think the awkwardness just comes from reused normals for the most part. That was nice. Oh, punish counter. Double perfect parry. That was dope. Can he kill me here? Yeah, level 1. Double perfect parry? Come on, bro. You don't need training. Get out of here. Backdash. Yeah, medium donkey kick is -8, and Ken has a stand medium kick punish there. And on a punish counter, you actually get crouching medium kick if you're in range. But most Ryus don't whiff it from that range, so a lot of time I just autopilot into target combo. Oh man, Krillin my bar. Alright, I have the super here because I'm in burnout, right? They have so much bar. So hopefully this will put me in a better position. Alright, get my bar back. Went for the reversal there, which, you know, kind of makes sense to do in a lot of cases, right? It's the right, can be a big gamble. But, you know, doesn't always work out, right? Okay, they really favor parry, right? In block strings and stuff. Oh. Oh, I parried, but... Aw. Okay, so that time I think I challenged in a spot where they were trying to walk up with a jab, and then just ready to counter hit confirm right. Oh. That was nice. Oh, that was a nice DI. I should be dead here, right? Level 1. Oh. He dropped it, but it worked out. I was no way I was coming back from that, right? It's like full health. So it seems like their main tendency is to parry after blocking something. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble. Level 3? Oh. Let's see if I can bring this back. This is actually going to be kind of tough, right? Because the... Oh, that was nice. Okay, so my mistake there was like backing off and they woke up with crouching medium kick. So that's one too many shimmies, I think, on my end. Tried to bait out something with the drive rush. Probably because they lost that first round with the reversal, right? But I think we can start getting some good whiff punishes here. Oh. Or I'm going to get whiff punished, I guess. Oh, he's waiting for the jump. Hey, what's up, guys? In the first time chat, appreciate you coming in, checking out what's going on. This is a show that we've affectionately called Sit Down and Shut Up with me, Juzzy. All right, on. Welcome, Gustin. Thanks for checking out the stream. So there's that challenge again. We're gonna fully commit to throw loops, I guess. And then, okay. So that last time was just because I think they were committed to taking the throw there, and then the backdash kind of caught them a little bit. So, all right, let's get them back in. Hey, man.
That was tough. Oh shit.
That was pretty good, man. I mean, there was a lot that you're doing right. I think a lot of it just came down to a little bit of spacing and a little bit of like what I was doing on offense. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen in Discord here. We can take a look at one of the replays. We'll grab a couple here. All right, one sec. Stream that there.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold all my comments for when they show up. I definitely have a lot of mixed feelings about some of my gameplay right now.
Right on. It's tough, man. I mean, you're coming from a character who, like with Ed especially, plays like a really, it's almost like a spaced keep away game, right? Like you're playing kind of like Sim, if you will, but like a mid range Sim, if that makes sense. Because you have a lot of these great normals, and they're all cancelable, right? So you're kind of used to playing at a range that's outside of, I think, Ryu's normal stand heavy punch, right?
Yeah, most people, yeah.
Yeah. So, let me take a look at this.
That's exactly what I meant with like I feel like I'm carried by a lot of these long buttons. It almost feels like a lot of the nerfs to the character don't really change me. Because usually when I was pressing my buttons, I was catching people blocking, so like the whiff nerfs don't matter as much. And then the 2LK, that one exists, who cares? But yeah, it's like I don't have a corner to corner BS meter dump. I don't have
Yep.
a definitely BS long range normal. I don't have one of the strongest with punish buttons in the game with crouching heavy kick on Ed.
Mm-hmm.
So like playing second on this character is something that I don't see a lot of Ryus do, but it's been something I've been actually trying to like hone this going second type of thing. And I know like people like Japnu is telling me like be aggressive. It's like I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, it's
Why does it feel like these people beat my normals all the time?
yeah, it's tough, right? If we look at like, well, we'll just watch some of this replay here. We'll see what we're talking about. So like, as a Juzzy, the Ken player, right? Maybe not so much like the trainer or whatever, but as me, the player, where I want to be standing is closer to actually around outside of Ken's stand heavy kick range.
Okay.
And the reason for that, at least for me anyway, playing Ryu, is because Ryu's really like to do what you just did right here, right? The neutral donkey kick, right? Especially with the buff to it in season, well, the recent buff to it, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is give myself a little bit of time to react to that, right? And I think you saw me do that a couple of times, right? I was able to react with a parry and get away with it, right?
Yes.
And then another thing too I'll mention here is that Ryu's medium donkey kick is -8, right? So against Ken specifically, Ken has an 8-frame punish that reaches you even if you like at most ranges basically, right? With his stand medium kick. And I think you saw me do that a couple of times too. So just to keep that in mind, right?
Yeah.
But like right here is about the range that I want to be when I press a button. So I'm standing outside of it, right? So I'm standing outside of it, and then I walk up to press.
Get in there.
Yeah. Right. And this is with a heavy, right? So it's a little bit tough, I think, like especially with like characters like Ryu who have this amazing stand heavy punch, right? But it's still 10 frames, so you have to space it and time it correctly, and it's kind of tough, right? So if we look at like even just the first few seconds of this, right, we can see that like the spacing you're establishing here, or at least we're trying to establish with each other, is starting to favor me just a little bit because you have shown that you want to do that, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, they want to hit that button in neutral, or hit that move in neutral, let me back up a little bit while this is happening, right? And then I'm going to try to sync up, or maybe not sync up, but like match your rhythm on your movement to hit you with a stand medium kick, right? Or sorry, stand heavy kick. And the reason I bring this up now is because I think that, and this is a personal thing, I don't know how other people feel about this, but with shotos especially, like some of their heavy buttons, as good as they are, they're very committal, right? So you have to kind of line up when you're going to do it, when you get a sense of when the other person's going to try to walk up, if that makes sense, right? Because if I go up and do that stand heavy kick, right, like right, hold on, right here, right, if you had walked backward instead, right, because this is at basically the tip, right, almost pretty close to the tip of the heavy kick range, right?
Yep.
If you had decided to walk back at that point, I whiff and you get a full punish, pretty much, right? So that's what makes this so hard at a higher level, because both of us are doing this, right? Especially with Ed too. Like when you play Ed, you're doing the same thing, right? The difference is that you have a longer range button, so you're able to kind of get away with it a little bit more. Not to say that it's a carry thing necessarily, right? Because you still have to be able to time it and press it, because Ed's buttons are way slower. It's just that when the range is a little bit shorter, right, it means that you're taking a little more risk when you press the button, right? So like with Ed, when you whiff a longer range normal, at least before some of the nerfs, like the only way I could punish you would normally be with like a sweep, right?
Yeah.
Like get a knockdown, hard knockdown, I can get dash, okay, but I can't get a full combo there, right? But here, if I whiff, right, you get a full combo, right?
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind as we're going through the set. Like you can kind of see the established spacing we're playing at and how much I'm letting you stand at that space, right? And see what ends up happening, right? So
'Cause I remember, and this is not the first game. This is like maybe game 3, game 4, if I remember correctly. I remember you were beating my donkey kicks, right? As you mentioned before, the heavy donkey kick. So at least at this round start, I picked the spacing where I thought I could whiff medium donkey, and you would think it's heavy and parry, and then I would have plus frames. Maybe I don't get the punish kind of throw, but I at least get plus frames. And
like you walk
I've
up
never
and
had
press
this
something.
with other shotos. Right. I've never had this with other shotos because Ryu is the only guy with donkey kick in this game. So at least in round start, I was trying to play at like the slightly too far range, and then I was considering moving in. And then once you denied me with stand heavy kick, I kind of wasn't sure what to do anymore. And as you make these comments about trying to develop a sense for when the opponent will walk into your button's range, maybe you take a small step forward to disrupt that rhythm a little bit and then create it on your terms.
Yeah, because
And have to develop that
yeah,
sense.
something that happens, I think, something that happens, I think, is that you react to the movement, right? Like as a player, we both do it, right? We're both reacting to each other. The difference is, can we force each other into a situation where you can get tagged, right? So like right here, for example, right? There's a whiff jab, right? After this blocked stand medium kick, right? So normally you would use the stand light kick here, right? And you can actually punish me right there, right? Yeah, like you do light tatsu or a light donkey kick or something, right? From the light kick. What happens here is, like, I get a sense, I don't move, right? Like you can see it right here.
Yeah.
Jab, and I just crouch, right? And I delay my crouching medium kick a little bit here, right? So what's happening here is that I'm getting a sense that you want to back up from this situation, right? You blocked, you just whiffed. Oh crap, let me back up, right? So I delay what ends up being like 4 frames, right? Just a little bit, and ends up tagging you, right? So that's the kind of stuff that in neutral, especially for like a shoto, I think becomes really important, because you have to be able to get that sense. Otherwise, you won't be able to land anything, right? So, maybe take
I remember. Yep. Yeah, I remember here. I think I was like 2 frames late to blocking low. Something like is exactly as you say. I didn't want to be there anymore. And I remember when I was developing defensive sense, because right now I still think my defense is kind of poor. I pick a lot of committal options, and one of the committal options I chose a lot was shimmying. So I told myself, I've seen these Japanese players do a lot of slight walk back out of throw range, and then they would crouch block. I'm still trying to develop that, so I'm glad at least here I was thinking about covering my legs. I was just slow.
Yeah. It's part of it is that I think you actually had a decent timing for it. It's just that my sense of when I thought you were going to move ended up working out.
Right, it was faster.
It was a little bit quicker, yeah.
Right, you were first.
Yeah. Or you know, like I just pressed when I pressed, right, and we're having to work out. But you know, that's you're right though. I think a lot of times you see a lot of these higher level players, like you weren't actually in throw range if you look at this.
Yeah, I wasn't even close. I don't know why I wasn't.
So like you could just not move, right? Like you see what I did? I didn't move, right? So what I was thinking here was that, okay, you just whiffed, right? There's the whiff. There's the recovery. If I see the character move forward, oh no, I got communication error. If I saw the character move forward, I was gonna jab. Oh man, did I get kicked out? You still hear me, right?
Yeah, I still hear you. I think it's just CFN.
Okay. Anyway, what I was saying was that in that scenario right there, if I see you move forward, I'm gonna press a jab. But if I don't see you move, I'm gonna press crouching medium kick and a drive rush, right? If you block it, that's gonna force at least I'm gonna get a mix up out of it, right? I mean, I use 3 bars, maybe I can throw you, and it's not like the best thing in the world, but at least I'm on offense, right?
Yes.
Or if you walk forward, I'll just check it, right? Because you're out of throw range, right? So I'm not gonna tech there, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people do, especially at like kind of lower levels, is that they will tech in that situation, right? They'll see a little bit of movement and then they'll tech, instinctively tech, and that can get you killed, right? So anyway,
do a lot of relatively ill-advised throw techs, that's for sure.
It's tough, man. It's really hard to not tech in a lot of these situations, right? So
this was the first game, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I was just talking shit about my donkey kicks then, because okay, my fault.
You're good.
Yeah.
All right, so I think here you block, right? Let's see.
I would bet money I delay tech here. Okay, I did.
You did, okay. And that's fine. Honestly, that's fine. I think if first interaction, you're really not sure what's gonna happen. It's pretty unlikely people will shimmy you right away unless we know each other, right, and we played forever. But even then, right, it's hard. And delay tech is a fine option there, right? Like you just take the combo there. You have a lot of life, right? You could take, I can't really super you here, right? I'd have to spend a lot of bar to extend, right? So it's not like the worst thing in the world, but it is a lot of damage on the table, right? And delay tech is fine, right? I don't have a problem with that, right? So that was good. Crouching medium kick there. So you caught me walking forward, right? Yeah. So I try to do the same thing I did to you at the beginning of the round, which is a walk forward, stand heavy kick. But you can see the spacing difference, right? So that's where the
Yeah.
right, like this is too close, right? Because you're already walking forward, right? So if it was here and I pressed it, right, it would have been okay, I think, if you walk forward. But since we both walked forward at this point, now the standing heavy kick is too close, right? And I committed to a
Right.
big button and lost, right?
Right.
So
Right. So I mean, what I was thinking there was because like the sense you're talking about is something I don't have yet. So what the idea I had was, even if Juzzy counter hits me out of 2 MK, I'm still gonna be in the same situation. It probably won't be that bad. So I mean, returning back to where I used to be, I'll have another chance to get out. But what I thought was risk wise was, if I get the hit, I get the full corner. I mean the full screen space, and then I get Denjin. Or if it's a block, at least I drive rush out of the corner, and I
yeah,
have full drive, so it's okay to spend that resource.
yeah, you can tick throw me or something like that. Another mix. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Is that like a
I
is
think
that a good thing?
I think it's a fine decision to make, right? Given the resource situation we were all in, right? Best case scenario for you, you land the crouching medium kick, you get a full combo, which is exactly what happened, right? So that's best case scenario. And like you said, worst case scenario is maybe I stuff it with like a stand like if I press stand like kick there instead, for example, like I thought you were
Yeah.
gonna poke.
Yeah.
Maybe I get a small like a Tatsu or something out of it, right? Like I counter poke and get a Tatsu and knock you down, but you're still cornered,
Right.
right? So it's the same situation.
Right.
And then like you were saying, if it's blocked, it's a mix up, right? Expensive,
I go
but
next.
that's what it is, right?
Okay.
And something here, I wasn't quite sure about this, and maybe we can check it out later, but I think that if you're going to go into Denjin, I think it's more damage to do the target combo. So from here, I think you get, if you do, there's a different route you can take here, and it ends in the stand heavy punch, stand heavy kick, target combo into Denjin, I think. And I think it's
Denjin
more damage.
cancel, right?
Yeah, the Denjin cancel from the target combo. I think it's more damage than a donkey kick.
We'll have to
We'll have
check
to
that.
check. Yeah.
Yep.
It may be a
Okay, well.
modern thing though, because modern doesn't have access to back heavy punch, so that could be why.
Yeah.
So
And
anyway,
they also don't have access to heavy donkey.
yeah,
As I've learned.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're just playing a little footsies here, if you will. Nice sweep. Okay. Do it again.
I'm not sure what that sweep was. Oh, I think I know what that sweep was, because in the immediate prior interaction, very similar interaction, we traded 2 MK. So I thought you would think that I'm button happy when it's my turn, quote unquote. So I went for sweep to try to catch her back while walking
walk,
back, because
yeah.
2 MK would be shorter range.
Well, it caught me twice. Although the last time it whiffed, right? So
Right.
it caught me there. Oh, okay. Well, I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, sweep is fine. Like again, sweep is a specific call out for movement, which we were going for. So I don't mind that decision, right?
Okay.
Because Ryu sweep too, I think if you land it, you get like a cool setup with stand medium punch, which I think we were doing there. So
The frame kill stand medium much.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Rashid a lot, actually.
yeah.
Okay.
So right here, right, this is the range we were talking about for the heavy donkey, right? Right. So the thing about heavy donkey is that it is kind of a lot of frames. So I'm just guessing for I'm fishing for a parry, right? I'm not trying to time anything. I'm just fishing for a parry, honestly.
Right.
And it just
Right.
happened to work out, right? So it is what it is, right? And like normally I would just parry this, right? I'll be -3 or whatever, and then we move on. But since it's perfect parry, obviously I get a combo here. But you're too far for the light Tatsu, so it only gets one hit. So let's see here.
I remember feeling really weirded out about this punish counter grab. I swear I tapped parry. Yeah. I let go, right? That's me letting go? I still get punish countered?
I think so. The recovery is still happening.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, so even though there's a parry here, you still have to, you can tech the throw here, right? So if you successfully parry a strike, you can tech after this, right?
Oh, I thought there was nothing I could do. After
can-
seeing the punish counter, I thought it was over.
Oh, well, in this scenario, right, like, it's a specific thing with SF6 parry. So if you
Okay.
just flash parry and I don't hit you, then you're stuck in recovery, right? Like, you're stuck in recovery for the whole time, and it'll be a punish counter, you can't tech anymore. But if you successfully parry a strike, even if it's not perfect parry, you successfully parry a strike here, you can still tech, right? You can still block and tech,
Okay.
even though the recovery is still happening here.
Oh, is that right? Today I learned.
Yeah. So like here, right?
Cool, cool.
So you can do this, right? And then if I right,
Really?
yeah,
That seems kind of
yeah.
okay.
But that's
Okay,
because
that's a decent.
you parried the strike. So if you don't
Okay.
parry a strike, like if you just parried a walk up throw, then you're locked out of parry basically
I
until they
see.
recover. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So the parry has to
The
succeed.
parry
Okay.
has to
Okay. Okay.
succeed,
Okay.
yeah. And then you can
Okay.
once that happens, you can block. You still have to block. You can block if you want to, right? I think the parry will, if it's a block string, the parry will still continue on, but you can tech now, right? So
Yeah.
so yeah,
I
but
might have
it'll
to lab
yeah
this if you don't. I'm sorry for
yeah.
interrupting you. I might have to lab this in case you're not sure about this. But can I fuzzy a delay tech?
Uh,
Like or OS it? So like because I'm stuck in parry recovery, if you don't throw me and I input delay tech, will it get eaten by the parry recovery?
oh, you still tech as because
I
delayed
still
tech.
tech.
Yeah, because delayed tech
Okay.
is happening in the tech window still exists, right?
Oh, okay, okay,
So
okay.
even though you parry, right? Even though there's recovery, because you're not locked out of teching anymore, there's still a tech window, right? So like when I grab you, you still have the 13 frames or whatever to tech, right? So
Okay,
that
okay,
still
okay.
works, yeah.
So the tech will still
The tech
happen.
will still happen, yeah. You can delay tech it,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, 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 okay. Cool, cool, cool.
So something I noticed here, maybe this is you gameplay. I think you wake up parry and parry in strings a lot. And I don't know if that's like an ed thing, but something to keep in mind as we go through the set to see if I adapt to that or not.
Okay.
Right. So like right here, it looked like you tried to jab, right?
Yeah, I think
Let's
so.
see. So you take that, right? And then I see what happened. Okay, so you parried, and then you try to jab after, and there's a gap, right? And that's why you got hit by the crouch. So it's an interesting thing here. So and I'll bring this up because it's probably interesting to you too. Is that there's a large gap between a crouching light punch, which is -1, right, after the parry, and then a stand or a crouching medium punch, which is a 6-frame move, right? So there's actually a significant gap there. So if you try to press something a little bit late, this stand medium punch will counter hit you, right?
Right.
So if you're trying to do, so the reason I do this, right, and try to explain it here, is that what a lot of people will do after parrying this is they'll do like a delay jab, which is exactly what you did, I think, right?
It's exactly what I did, right?
Because you're stopping me from the walk up, right? Because now you're afraid of me walking up, throwing you, or trying to shimmy you, right? And normally a delay jab will beat this, right? So if I shimmy, right, I'll block it, and it'll be your turn now, or at least you stop my pressure. If I walk up throw, you'll counter hit me into full combo, right? The only thing, and if I continue with my light string here, it'll block, right? Because it's delay jab.
Yes.
But because I intentionally left the gap here, it allowed you to press that button, and then you get counter hit by it because you're trying to delay the timing, right? So when you see stuff like this where you're getting hit by a crouching medium punch or like a slow button, even though you delay jabbed, that's what's happening, right? And I think I do this to you more than once during the
Right.
during the
Is this interaction skewed in favor of you or me?
It's in favor of the offensive player, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Okay.
But the thing is, the OS you're doing here, the delay jab, works on the majority of the mix-ups that I would have as the offensive player, right? Because like again, like I said, like I could go into 2 more lights, right, to try to frame trap you. I could back up to try to shimmy you, right, or I can try to walk up throw. And delay jab will beat all 3 of those options, right? So
Yeah.
I'm selecting this option to beat the thing that I think is going to beat the 3 options that you think I'm going to go for.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
I mean, I know it sounds stupid when I put it that way, but that's
No.
exactly
No.
what's
No.
happening, right? Is that like I think you're going to delay jab against this offense of sequence
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm gonna
It's
do
the
a delay
experience
jab.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because if you mashed, right, you'd actually beat this, right? If you had mashed a crouching light punch here, like right after the parry, it actually would have beaten the delay button here. Pretty sure. So
Right.
if we take a look at that, right? Right? Something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever it happens to be.
Right.
So my reward might not be that great, but at the same time, if you manage to beat it somehow by whatever means, it would either have to be a hard read because you're -1 on the jab, or or you block and nothing happens anyway, but at least I'm out.
Yeah, yeah. Like as the offensive
Okay.
player, I'm committing to an option, right?
Yeah.
Right. In this situation, it's really I don't want to call it a 50-50, but I'm guessing you're going to OS or you're not going to OS, basically.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So like I have to cover, and this is something that I think on offense you have to consider more and more,
Yeah.
is that when you get into the higher levels, like where you're at right now, offenses become a lot more layered because you have to be able to account for the option selects that the defensive player is doing. Right? Like I keep talking about this one situation over and over again, but I think this highlights it really well, is that there is a single option that beats 3 options from the offensive player. But there's a specific counter to that option that is a pretty big reward for the offensive player, right? Like I get a counter hit, crouching medium punch the drive rush here, right?
Yeah.
Or I would have if I was a better player. but you know what I mean though, right? Is that
Right.
would
Right.
have
I
been
know what you
able
mean. I
to-
know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you start thinking about offensive sequences like that, you have to be able to consider the defensive options that are available to the opponent and then try to pick which ones you want to try to beat, right? Half of that's reads, half of that's, knowing what the percentages are. The other half is like looking at this, seeing what the bar, meter, super situations look like.
Right. Right. Right.
But there are a lot of players that don't do that. They just look at, oh, I'm plus or I'm minus. I'm going to do XYZ
You know, do
thing.
something. Right.
Because that's quote unquote the right thing to do. And when they get blown up for it, they're like, oh, I'll post on Twitter about how BS Ken is, right? So, I mean, joking aside, but that's what happens, right? Is that like, I think that this layer underneath is not being considered, right? Because like, oh, how is it that Ken is always able to be correct, right? How is he always correct in on offense or even on defense, right? And this is what's actually happening, is that you're covering multiple options, right? So
Okay. Okay. So,
anyway, that should have been a kill for me. I screwed up, so anyway.
right. I mean, here though, right? And on that hit, I got a perfect parry. I'm fairly certain I kill you if I cash out fully into level 2.
Oh, from here? Yeah, probably.
Do you think it's worth it?
100%.
Damn.
I
I'm so
think so.
addicted to saving meter for next rounds.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
how would you make that decision?
So
Here.
it comes down to 2 things, right? One is you look at the life totals, right? You look at your meter here, and you kind of have to weigh like, how do I put this? You have to weigh like, can you win the next 2 offensive sequences, right? So you won this one, you're gonna put me pretty close to death, like with the sequence you did, right?
Yeah, if I do double drive rush heavy, and then level 2, I just kill you.
You're probably
I
gonna kill
think.
me, right? So if you look at the life
Right.
total here, right, we're both 1 interaction away. You have full meter, I have less meter, right? Our super is more or less the same. But you have to consider if you think you can win the next interaction or not, right? Like, how have I been doing in neutral? How have I been doing on offense, right? Can I force a situation here where I think Juzzy will make a mistake, right? Or can I force something where I can, exploit or push my offense up, right? Because right here, you go for a Hasho, right? And then I think I win here because you get tagged, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. So, that's kind of when it goes into that decision making, right? I think that a lot of times it's okay to spend level 2 early, like especially round 1, right? Like you're gonna build level 3 by the end of the match, most likely, right?
Right.
So like saving meter, I mean, maybe it's different for Ed, right? Because the level 2 is such high value, right? It's a little bit different. But for a character like Ryu, where level 1 or like his supers just represent a lot of damage and not necessarily like utility in particular, like cashing out for a win there would change the flow of the match, right? So you'd be up around, even though you don't have super, it's still round 2, it's still early, right? You'll probably build super by the end of that game, right? You'll definitely build at least level 1, if not level 2. And you will 100% have level 3 if you go into round 3. But, if you lose in round 2 here, you don't get a round 3, right? So, and then defensively, I think what happens is you make a hard read, right? On the plus frames. I went for shimmy and it happened to beat you, right? Like you can actually see that I hit the jab and I'm backing up, right?
Yeah.
And you can see my delay button comes out here, right? So, you made a hard read. It didn't quite work out. This works if I went for additional pressure for sure, but is what it is. But that's what I mean though, right? Is that like you kind of gambled the level 2 into the next round and it didn't quite work out. So now we both have level 2 going into it, right? But I'm ahead by a round now, so.
Yeah.
It's a
Definitely.
tough decision to make though, right? It really just depends on how you're feeling, right? It's up to you.
Hmm.
If you want to be greedy about it, I totally think that's a fine decision to make, but you have to be able to win the next interaction.
I have to be able to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take a tick throw there. So again, what's happening, right? I think we kind of talked about this, right? Is I'm delaying my crouching medium kick, right? Not pressing right away, but delaying a little bit to try to catch you walking back.
Yeah. 2 frames of
Yeah.
me letting go.
Again, it
That's
just
such
it
good
happens to
sense.
work out, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of it's a weird game sense, if you will, right? It's part of the shoto game plan, right? Is you have to be able to kind of think about that, right? Because what's really happening here is if this stops working, I have to do something else.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm just gonna keep doing it, right?
Yep.
No.
Classic advice. If it doesn't stop working, why
Yeah.
stop doing it?
Why stop, right? Like until
Yeah.
until you're able to deal with it, like, you know, why would I layer my offense further, right? Nice jump. Okay, jab, counter hit. Okay, I challenged there. Let's see what happened. So I get jumped on. Get the counter hit here. Or maybe we're ready for the right confirm, but that's okay.
Yeah. Wrong confirm.
Yeah. And then I get a challenge out with a crouching medium punch. You get hit as you're trying to walk up. Press a button.
Oh, I think I was trying to shimmy backwards into a stand fierce.
Yeah, walk back. Yeah,
That's
that's
what
what it
I was
looked
trying
like.
to do. Yeah. But I just messed something up because if I'm holding back, I shouldn't get hit. So I think I just made a mistake.
Yeah, and then there I think it was the whiff, right? Whiff stand heavy punch. Oh, okay. I blocked it, but you were backing up.
Yeah, I went for it again. Because
Let's see.
was I micro walking back? I think that's what I should have done
So there's the hits.
after this first one blocks.
So you're -2. So I'm +2 here. So try to take my turn back. Oh,
Oh, I just did it again.
You pressed
I
another
just
button.
swung.
Yeah, you just swung.
Yeah,
Right.
not good.
Yeah, so remember -2 here. So you have to be careful about the button selection you want to put there. So I just take my turn back with a crouching medium kick, and it works, right? So, and that's it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So that stand heavy punch kind of trap, if you will, doesn't quite work at that range. You have to be a little bit further out, right?
Yeah.
And I think that for reuse, I have to take a look at the pushback. I'm not quite sure. But the pushback isn't as much as Ken's, I think. I don't know. I have to lab that. But for that like that space trap to work, it has to be at the tip, I think. Like at the tip of the stand heavy punch, right? To get the enough pushback for my crouching medium kick to whiff, basically. Right? So I think like the main takeaways from that one really ends up becoming kind of a space thing. And then some of the like footsies considerations, if you will, of how to like the sense of timing of when to press, basically, right?
Yeah.
I think that's like the main reason I was beating you in a lot of the in that game was mostly around when you were moving, I happened to be pressing, right? And then on offense, there's just a couple of like, you know, I did a shimmy, you delay tech, right? Like normal normal SF6 offense stuff, right? So okay, so let's take a look at this one. I think this is the right one.
So this should be the last game, I think.
I think so. Okay. So I think by now I kind of got a sense of when you wanted to press heavy buttons. So when you start getting whiff punished with heavies, that's kind of when you're like, oh crap, maybe I need to stop. I need to press
start
less.
tightening
Right?
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. I felt that exact emotion.
I was like, oh,
okay.
son of a. Yeah.
All right.
That's
okay.
what happens to me. It's like, oh man, you just whiff punished me with a 12-frame move, bro. Right? So. Okay, take that. Nice.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yep.
Okay, moving on.
So I think at this point, this is our fourth game by this point, right? Because you had one. I think you had won either the previous one or the one before it.
Yeah, I won game 3.
Yeah. So I think at this point you're kind of like, okay, I can't really stand, like where we're standing here, right? This is closer to like end range almost. And I think you're like, oh, I want to stand where, like, I want to put Ryu where my cursor
Yeah.
is, right? More or less. This is
Right.
where I think I want to be. But it's very difficult for you to get there because every time you walk up, you walk into my range, you walk out of my range, and then I tag you with a low.
Yes.
Right? That's what's been happening. So it's like hard to be like,
Yeah.
how do I get in there, right? So now at this point, you're trying to play a fireball game, I think, and it actually works pretty well, I think. Like, I'm not able to deal with this all that well. So I actually have to drive rush in to close that distance, right? And that was a huge risk for me, right, to do that. Because if you throw another fireball here after that, instead of Denjin,
Like if I didn't Denjin right.
yeah, I would have eaten the fireball, right?
So I should probably try to get you to block a fireball before I Denjin.
Yeah, especially with Ryu. And I didn't punish you for it very well this set, but like a Ryu Denjin raw like that in neutral is kind of scary because Ken can punish you from like full screen or at least 3/4 screen, right? Drive rush stand heavy punch will hit tag you, right? So just gotta be careful about that.
Yeah.
And then I think your sweep gets stuffed.
Yep.
Yep.
I thought you were gonna walk back to MK, so I was trying
Yeah.
to catch her walk back.
Catch it with walk back, yeah.
But now that I look at it, there's no reason to. You've already established corner. You want to use that corner.
Yeah, I'm
So
not gonna.
sure why it does.
Yeah, it's not really a. There's not really a good reason for me to. So after you block this, I think, right? Right. I'm just gonna walk up. I just walk up jab, right? Like there's no reason for me to try to back up in this situation necessarily. So it's stuffed, and then ready for the confirm, right? Or I guess I missed my confirm. But then you let go of parry. Oh, you try to jump. Okay. So if you look at this,
Yeah, I was reading a walk-up throw here.
yeah, you try to jump, it looks like.
Yeah, I didn't. By the time that the drive rush flashed, I should have gone back to holding back to block, and I wasn't ready. Yeah, I remember this.
A good parry on the safe jump.
I didn't expect you to throw here is the thing, because I know that you know that I know that safe jump parries like those are what -2.
Something like that. It's
Yeah,
not.
so I didn't. Damn. I definitely have first action. Probably. Because I recover immediately after this is done.
Yep.
And I should have. Yeah, I have first action.
Yeah,
so
you have 2 frames, right?
yeah, I thought you would think I would EXTP, but then I also thought that I know that you know that I know about that, so
Yeah.
I was just gonna sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, so I actually delay tech.
Yeah, right.
All right. And the reason for this
Is that normal?
yeah, kind of.
Oh,
So
damn.
what's happening here is I'm going to beat a EXTP. I'm going to beat a button, right? Because you're going to push the button. I'm -2, right? So I can block here, right? And I'm going to beat a throw, right? Because a lot of times what people do in a perfect parry in this situation is they'll back throw, right?
Yeah.
So the options in that scenario I think about is usually like a delay tech on offense, right? To stop 3 of those things from happening, or a neutral jump. But you had previously perfect parried my neutral jump after the perfect parry of my jump in, right? So I'm not going to jump again, right? I think that's what you're waiting. I mean, you're waiting for me to do something here, right?
Yeah.
And if I had jumped, you would have
ready to
anti-aired,
commit to
right?
defense. Yeah.
Yeah. So, or at least parried me, right? And then if you parry the jump in or whatever, then it's it's a better situation than the safe jump parry.
Yeah.
But that's why I delay tech here, right? And
Is it still skewed for the safe jumper if they get parried?
well, I'm -2, so technically not, right? It's still your turn. Like if you had jabbed me here, it would have worked, right? I would have blocked, or if my delay tech was off, I would have gotten counter hit potentially.
Okay.
But I would have just blocked here, and then it's your pressure now, right? So you can do a light string to try to get out of it, or you can do the 2 lights into a mix-up, right? It's the safe jump ends my turn essentially, right? When you perfect parry,
Yeah.
because I'm -2, so
Yeah.
I can't do anything, right?
Yeah.
You could have went for throw there too, right? I think that would have been fine, but it is your strike throw mix because it's your point blank +2, right? So
yeah,
consider
I'm
that option, right?
I'm definitely overcomplicating the interaction here. Then I should just keep it simple. -2.
Yeah,
so
plus
I
plus
should
2.
just do
Well,
something.
like if you think about what would you do in a +2 situation normally,
Just do that.
strike throw, right? Like
Okay.
yeah, no need
good,
to
good.
do anything more than. I mean, if I'm not showing anything, right? Like if I'm doing something
Yeah.
complicated or going crazy, then it's different. But I do something simple as something as simple as a delay tech here to beat the offensive option that's coming, right? Because I know I'm minus, right?
Yeah.
So I have to do something. It just so happened that since you didn't do anything when I delay teched, it back through you, right? So
Yep.
yeah, right there. So like this dungeon, if I was a better player, I would have drive rushed in that game, right?
Yeah, I just lose. Yep.
So, and then you get tagged on the. Oop, what happened there?
Tagged on the 2MK.
Oh, it's the same thing. It's the same, almost the same situation again, where you get tagged as you're trying to back up.
Yeah, same thing.
Right.
I guess in this case, the difference is you invaded that space on your own, and I reacted late. I didn't consider that you would just go 2MK.
Because
Okay.
throughout the set, you've kind of established that, and I walk into that space, you tend to back up, right? And it's tough, right? Because I'm walking in and pressing a button, right? And normally the counters to that would either be for you to back up and whiff punish or stuff it, right? So if you had pressed, that's too much.
Yeah, my immediate thought is 5LK.
Yeah, if you had pressed something else there potentially,
Yeah.
like you said, stand light kick, right? But it's tough, right? Because you had just blocked.
Yeah, just parry something.
Yeah, you just blocked or parried in this case, I guess. But you had just stopped stand heavy punch. Right. So it is your turn here, right? You're +2, but the spacing kind of dictates what button you could press here. If you press a heavy, you'd get stuffed because that's what happened last time, right? You pressed a 10 framer against that. You could have pressed something light, a small, shorter button, or you could have caught me to kick me back, right?
Yeah. 2MK, 2MP, 5LK.
Yep, it would have gotten me, right? At least you would have put me in the corner, and then you 2 interactions away basically from winning, right? Well, instead I cash out here, and that's it. So basically, I think where a lot of where I'm beating you is that in the neutral game, when I invade your space, you get a little bit uncomfortable and back up, and then I'm just exploiting that for the most part.
Yeah.
Oh, you fix that anti-air. This mad? Are you kidding me? This is mad damage. 3500. Come on.
That was meant to be a sweep. I messed it up. Still getting used to that.
Oh, the axe kick, yeah.
Yeah.
So that time I tagged you walking forward, right?
Yeah.
So
I tried to fix that. I feel like I remember something like this. It definitely because you were in corner, so I felt more like sure of myself. I remember, okay, I'm gonna walk in and like jab him.
walk up jab, and then it's a little bit late. Yeah, it's hard, man, because me as the defensive player here, right? Because I'm cornered. Like my thought is, I don't want you anywhere near me, so I'm gonna press as soon as you get close. Right?
Yeah.
So that just means that I'm, if you think about the footsies trilemma thing, which have you seen that? You've seen that video, right? So
I believe I did.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is basically the cover attack, right? You walk forward into me, and I'm stopping you from pressing your button, right? So. Oh.
Oops. It's okay, I recovered.
We'll skip over that part when I upload it. See, there is what's supposed to happen on the counter hit, right? Right, that's supposed to happen. But if I'm late on that, it doesn't. Yeah, whatever.
Yep. I remember thinking to myself here, I'm gonna wake up level 3, and I considered how embarrassing that would be for myself, so I didn't do it.
How much that would? Well, it would have worked.
It would have worked. I didn't, because you never communicated that you were gonna throw loop at all in those.
Not in the first 3 games, yeah. And I actually say it on stream at this point. I'm gonna commit to a throw loop.
Fuck.
Right, but the thing though, and I'll tell you this now, is that Ken's dash here is actually +1. So if you look at this, right?
Do throws have priority over jab?
No, strike has priority.
So I can jab you out of this.
So if you look, right?
Oh.
I'm only +1.
Right.
So you can mash here, and it'll beat my throw. Like this is fake, basically, right? So the reason this is working now, though, is because 2 games ago, what I would do when I dashed up is I would jab you first, right?
Yes.
Jab and then throw. Even though the throw is not real because it's also -1, it's very difficult to mash against that, right? Because you get counter hit potentially, right? Because I've also done the three lights into whatever, right? So this is actually super fake. But the reason this is working, obviously, is because you don't want to press, right?
Yeah, I remember you stuffed a backdash of mine a backdash read. You stuffed it with 2 MP, and from that point on, I said I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, because
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because what'll happen is I'll forward dash and delay, and the people will backdash, and then you can catch them with a button.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Okay. So
so there, right there.
yeah, there it happened
there it
there.
was,
Yeah.
right?
So,
Yeah.
so this was a build up. Okay.
100%. So like this sequence just happened to be in the middle of our set, or sorry, at the end of our set. But I
Yeah.
totally would, if we were playing a longer set, you know, like first to 10 or whatever, I totally would have used it there too, right? Because you know, why not, right? It's a corner sequence that I haven't shown you. I've been willing to do yet. And if it works, great. I take the set, and if it's mid set, then it's not something you have to consider when you get thrown now, right? Oh, he dashed up, shit,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yep.
yeah. So, again, what I'm thinking, like, where the, if I want to call it an issue necessarily, I don't think it's really an issue. It's just like a training thing. It's just like when you get into certain spaces, just be mindful of your movement and what the opponent has been doing, right? A lot of times when you're trying to back up, like, I don't necessarily hate backing up out of pressure. The issue is that you're too close to me for me to whiff the button, right? In a lot of cases, if you were, in the training stage, you have those little square things or whatever. If you were like half a square away, like further away, and you backed up, then my crouch immediate kick will likely whiff, right? And then you can get a punish counter. So the issue was that when we would get into those spaces, right, I would just crouch and block, right? I don't mind blocking a move from you if you want to press a button, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm sensing that you don't want that to happen, then I'm gonna press and drive rush and all that stuff, right? So that's really the main thing when it comes to like the footsies game, if you will, right? That's where I was kind of taking advantage of that, right? Because a lot of times when you actually hit me was on whiff punishes, actually, right? It was not that frequent where I would be backing up out of pressure and you would tag me. What's more likely is I whiff a button and then you whiff punish me, right? That's what was happening more often. Or, you would beat me in a defensive sequence, right? Like, oh, I need to, I'm pressuring and I do something, and then you beat it, right? That's the other side. But that was like the main thing, is that mid-range spacing, right? So I think like the real quote unquote fix, if you will, I don't know if I want to call it a fix, but like it's really just be willing to stand your ground a little bit more. Like if you're not sure that you're gonna be able to whiff punish me, because that's really difficult to see, right? Like it's hard to be like, oh, I know that spacing down to the pixel, right?
Yeah.
Be willing to just stand there and block, right? Because what happens if you block is that if I delay my crouch medium kick and I drive rush, I just spend 3 bars for a tick throw mix up at best, right? Like a throw mix up, which is not that great, right? Like in terms of return overall, right? So that was it. And then on defense, I think you do fine. You didn't commit to too many options, and I think you could have reversaled in a couple of spots, and I was kind of expecting you to, and you didn't, right? And there were times where I just kind of went ham a little bit. Like on that last sequence, you could have level 3'd me at any point of that, and it would have beaten me, right? So, I think your reversal timing is fine for the most part. I don't think you choose it all that often. But I do think that when you lost at the first one, you're like, oh crap, okay, let me rein that in. And then you kind of stop doing it, right? So don't be afraid to reversal if you have life and meter, right? Like, and it may not kill you. Like, it's not a bad gamble if you think it's gonna, if you think it's gonna work, right? Like, if I've just been meeting you over and over again, you don't want to continue taking that pressure necessarily. So I will say, though, one of the things that gets talked about a lot is don't wait until the final interaction to reversal. Right?
That's when everyone expects it.
That's exactly right. That's when you're like, okay, all right, he's gonna die here, right? So you have to, right? So, and yeah, that would be it. I think, I think that's really the main things, right? And then as far as like button spacing goes, right, like kind of getting used to the crouch medium kick and the stand heavy punch ranges, I think will do a lot of good. And like as far as fireball game goes, like it's hard for me to describe how Ryu's fireball game is, because I have a hard time dealing with it myself. But what good Ryu's will do is they'll kind of try to quote unquote frame trap you with fireballs, right? So they're they'll throwing you at a range where they can DP you, right? Or they happen to be a little more plus, right? So you try to walk up, you can take another fireball, right? Or they trap you on wake up, right? So they knock you down with a donkey kick, and instead of taking dungeon, they throw a fireball, right? And that'll you have to block it because it's coming at you, right? You can't parry it, but it locks you into that spot, right? And then when that happens, the Ryu player will walk up, right? If you looked at most of our matches, a lot of the game, if you will, like that wasn't the neutral, if you will, was me pushing you to the corner, right? Like a lot of times you were kind of trying to back up, and I was just taking up space, right? I think that's pretty essential to like a shoto game plan. The threat of the button is just as important as the actual button itself, right?
Okay.
Because if you consider like two players that are pretty close in terms of neutral game, right? The one that's gonna win is the one that gets the other one in the corner, right? Like as you're blocking and you're trying to parry stuff and all of that stuff, like even if two players have good neutral game, if someone ends up in the corner, that's when it's difficult to play neutral now, right? Because you don't have any more space to back up. So like when you were cornered, or even when I was cornered, right, we have to fight our way out by pressing buttons at kind of unopportune times. Right? You have to take more risk, right?
Yep.
Whereas the offensive player that has all the space in the world can be like, all right, I'm going to dance it out of this range. I'm going to try to get you to press a button, or I'm going to dash up and throw you, or whatever. The world is their oyster at that point, right?
Yep.
So that's what makes it kind of tough, right? Is that like when you're like two players that have decent neutral, like they're all at the same level as each other, rather. I don't want to say decent, but they're at the same level, right? That can happen, right? Is that like they'll just kind of play this weird tug of war thing, and someone accidentally ends up in the corner because they backed a little too much, right? Now they can't take the space back, and then they lose from there, right? And you see that a lot in high level play. Like if you looked at like the last UTF or whatever, or some of this other stuff that was streamed on Fight Rise, plug, you can see that the time cornered was like a huge correlation with who won the round, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So what are you thinking? Any thoughts or questions? I know it's a lot.
Oh shit. I just like a lot of the questions that I asked during the analysis were centered around this idea of like who's more favored, who has who's holding the risk. It's a sense I'm trying to develop, which is funny because I feel like a lot of the time defensively in reversal situation, Ed carries quite a bit of risk because his DP is kind of slow. So now I'm playing a character who has a much faster reversal, as you mentioned, like probably should have reversal here and there. It was not a bad idea. I always think it's a bad idea now for some reason. Right? So okay. So
yeah, I mean it's up to the player, honestly. Like I'm gonna put this, how much risk are you willing to take here, right? Because if I block one or two EXDPs, that's usually game, right? Like it doesn't take that many. Even with Ken, it doesn't take that many blocked EXDPs to lose, right?
Yeah.
So it's really some of it just comes down to like feel, honestly. And I hate to describe it that way, but it's like you just kind of get a sense of when it's a good time to reversal, and you just do it, right? And again, I hate explaining it that way because it kind of is a non-answer. Like there's no analysis around that, like the same way I can talk about footsies and all on like neutral game. I can't talk about reversaling the same way because it's 100% a feel thing, right? It's a defensive option. You want to take that defensive option. You don't want to do it too frequently, but you also don't want to not represent it, right? Because if you are unwilling to reversal, then I don't have to worry about anything. I can just continue pressuring all day, right? You're gonna try to block. You might try to fish for perfect parry, right? Neither of those things are necessary. Like you go for parry, try to get perfect parry. Neither of those things are necessarily scary, 100% scary to me as an offensive player. Perfect parry obviously is because you get thrown or whatever, but it's not as bad as your pressure being stopped by reversal, right? So it's something to consider, right? As you're playing the game more and you look at some of these replays, like think about when you watch your defensive sequences, especially. When you're playing ranked or whatever, like pay attention to how many opportunities you could have reversaled and it would have worked, right? I know this is like chasing the rabbit, or whatever they call it in poker, right? Where you look at the whole cards after the hand is over, but it can give you a good sense of like it would have worked there. What was my thought, or what was my feel during that, right? Was I like 50-50 was going to work? Was I 70-30 was going to work? 30-70? Would it have worked? Would it not worked? And then I think over time you'll get an idea of like how to kind of pick apart what offensive players are doing, and then get an idea of when you can try to reversal, right? Something that I do a lot, and especially after I started doing this series more and more, is that I have to be a lot more analytical about the game I'm playing, right? It's not just like, oh, we're playing a set and I'm trying to win. Like I'm having a conversation, with the camera, if you will, about what's happening during the game, and I'm trying to see your habits and see your tendencies, if you will, to see like, are the things you're talking about actually a problem? Are they not a problem? Maybe it's overstated, maybe it's understated. But the idea is that I'm able to, get a sense of that and then kind of use it. And it's been helping a lot actually. Funnily enough, it's been helping a lot in like other other games, right? Like not in ranked and stuff, right? So
Okay.
but yeah, man, I think that's really the two things. Like, and you talked about the button, the neutral thing, and I think we covered that a good amount.
Yeah, we covered that. Yep.
Yeah.
This
And then
makes
Fireball
sense.
game, we talked about that a little bit. I know I'm not the best at that, but I think you have an idea of how to use it a little bit better. Just watch
A little
the
bit better.
ranges, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And then defensive situations, that's just ranked gaming, right? You gotta sometimes you gotta guess, right? And go for it. So yeah, man, if you have time for another first three, we can run it.
Yes, I do. I do.
Oh man,
I do. This. My goal is to be less scared.
Let's get
By all metrics, you should be just as scared as I am at those ranges, and if you're not scared, I shouldn't be scared.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we should just face each other down, like full cowboy, hands drawn.
Yeah. We're both not moving and crouching, right? That's what it ends up being.
Oops.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, no shimmy.
I did it again.
Ah.
It's such BS. Why did they
The
do
only
that?
way I could have gotten it was if I supered there, but it's so.
It's actually true. It's a true block string. You can't get out of that.
Oh really? Oh, on the OD one, right?
Yeah. Nice. Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, wrong confirm.
Oh, I'm dead. Man.
Damn. You shouldn't have told me to not be scared, buddy.
See, it works, right?
It does work. I hate that it works.
Yeah.
Just be okay to challenge these ranges. Oh.
Yeah. 100%, right? Because reuse buttons are really good, right?
Yeah. Nice. Oh, I was second. Yeah, I went second. Yep. Ah, wrong range. Oh, what?
Oh, it was counter hit,
nice,
so I think you pressed.
Yeah.
Must have pressed something.
I went for Stand Fierce. I don't know why.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that was a bad choice.
Ooh.
Oh, come on. Oh, what the? That was not
Oh.
right. All right, that's fair. Ooh, nice.
Oh, that's the space trap right there, right? So you saw the range of that stand heavy punch, right? When I blocked it, like that's the range you need to be at for that space trap to work. Because you saw my stand medium or my crouch medium kick whiffed, right?
Right. So even if I'm minus, okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
that's how it works, right? Is even if you're minus there, the spacing doesn't allow me to punish.
Yep. I tried testing that. Right, I need to develop my stance on that range.
Oh, way off. Oh, I tried to challenge, but that was the wrong button to challenge with.
Oh.
Well, I'm dead.
Oh, this is mad stress.
It's hard now, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the spacing and challenging and shit. Like, this is mad stressful.
Uh-oh.
Oops. Could have been better.
Nice. Ooh, that was nice.
Nice. I wasn't in range for that 5OK. Ooh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, my OS didn't come out. Oh, man.
Oh no.
Oh, nice.
Oh shit, that's not level 2! Uh-huh.
I don't think you're dead though.
Yeah, not even close. We're chilling, we're chilling.
Oh, I tried. I tried.
Oh, run DP. I see.
I tried.
Okay.
I tried.
I would have lost. Yeah, that was good.
Oh, cross me up.
I think I'm supposed to spend here.
That's not a bad op. It's fine. I think like the amount of lead you have here, right? Like you look at the set lead and all that stuff, like totally makes sense. Yeah, 'cause I'm dead here, right? Yeah. So
It makes sense. It clicked. Oh, it clicked.
you see what I mean, though, right? Like the difference in how I mean, I didn't change too much about how I was playing, but like if you looked at like those situations where I was beating you, right? Like if you eliminated those, all of a sudden everything was so much easier, right? Like you're able to land everything. So,
it makes sense.
right? Because then at that point, now that the spacing is a little bit better for you, you're able to just play the way you want to play, right? Because you're a really talented player, right? So you're just doing what you think is going to work, and it's going to work. It's just that the spacing wasn't correct for the character you're at, right? And then some of the decision making I think was, maybe not 100% there, but it's fine, right? Like the decision making on some of the defensive situations was totally fine for the most part. A couple of reversals maybe didn't go your way, but like that set, right? You saw the main difference in the way you were playing that one was that you weren't allowing me to just walk up and press buttons, right? Like whenever I delayed my crouching medium kick, you just stuffed it, or it was blocked, right? And I couldn't do anything. So, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Huge difference, right? Like, and I know that first game was super stressful for you because you were trying to implement all that stuff, but then once that kind of made sense, it was pretty easy to do, right? Because you play Ed, so you have an idea of how to play neutral already, right? It's just that the space and the movement part of it, I think, wasn't quite there, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's better now, right? Like there are a lot of rounds where you just kind of dominated me, right? And a lot of times it's because like the neutral portion of it, right? Like I was losing that battle a lot more, right? So.
Okay. I'm gonna have to rewatch all of this in the future.
Yeah,
sure.
man, it'll be on YouTube. Yeah. So
yeah.
Cool, man. So yeah, any thoughts or questions before we wrap up? Mine is still blowing a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I might have to DM you because right now I don't think I can come up with something structured. So I think I'm gonna have to DM you maybe in like a day or two.
Yeah.
And then ask you there.
Watch the VOD again, see if there's anything that you didn't get to ask about or whatever. And because it's hard to cover everything, right? I only picked a couple of replays and picked like the two big things I thought would help, and clearly it did, right? Because you just 3-0'd me on that set. So it's not like I was, I'm trying to win too, right? I don't want to get embarrassed on stream, and that's what happens, right? So anyway, cool, man. Yeah. So so for anyone still in chat, thanks for watching. This has been a training session with Satorha here. I try to do these once a week. You can sign up on the FightRise Discord if you're watching on Twitch. If you look underneath, right, there's a couple of links to the FightRise Discord as well as for Newbie Fight Club. And if you're watching on YouTube, look at the description there. It'll be links to those as well. FightRise is a Discord that does bi-weekly tournaments. They're a fighting game community. They do bi-weekly tournaments called One Fight Stand, although they're on break right now because it is a holiday. And they do UTF, these kind of events that showcase the community called Urge to Fight. It's their series for that. I'll be on it. So will Satorha, actually, right? We're both on that next week. So we'll be playing a pretty fun format, and it's for charity as well, right? So take a look at Fight Rise and donate if you guys are able to. Appreciate that. Also part of the Newbie Fight Club. They run lobby nights every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So basically a little more casual setting. Get to play games with folks around your level if you're a lower level player. If you're a high level player like Satorha is here, you can find games with him too, right? So you can play them. So yeah, thanks again everyone for tuning in. I will upload this to YouTube in a bit. Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks again, and have a good day.
Y'all have a good one.